This video is to show you how to create a event on the MOAR Regional Events Calendar. So the first thing you'll do is go to My Shifts under MOAR Regional Events Calendar and Volunteer Connection. And then you can click on a date, but I just like to go to the list to kind of see like what's going on currently. And then this is the actual like shell of the calendar, and then you'll add your events to that. So you would just go to add registration event, and then the registration name, and just for this, I'll just put test, and then an event description. If the event is virtual and you select it as virtual, they get a text. So I would keep the description short if it's a virtual event, because the text is they're gonna get like 5 texts if it's a long description. So you just have whatever the description is, and then you can either put like a document or an event image if you have one. You know that for holiday parties and stuff, they like to send the invite out for the email. So I like to include the event image on here. Max reservations is just depending on how many you want. You can go up to 1,000, or whatever you want. Minimum reservations isn't required. And then you can restrict the sign up to specific chapters. You can, these are all access groups. So you can restrict it to an access group, whatever you're looking for. You can restrict it to that. And then same here, you can basically only show the registration button to like a certain chapter. So if you have an event that's only in Kansas City and you don't want anybody else registering it, you can just put only show button to Kansas City. And that way people can see the calendar, but when they click on it, they can't register. And then this is a message to display if the button is hidden, which is nice. So you can say, thank you so much. This event is only for volunteers in the greater Kansas City area, or something like that. And then you can select a location here. I will also show you how to add a location to this list in just a second. So this is where you would add a location if it's in person. This is where you put like another location, like a link, if you need it, or like a map link, you can put that here. If you don't have it on your list. And then if a virtual shift, yes or no, the virtual location, if it's Zoom or Teams, you paste the URL of your actual meeting in this one right here. This way, when they click register, they'll get an email and then they'll have the link to the meeting. So that is a very important spot right here. And then of course, a start date and time. You can leave this blank, or you can have it set up to where you don't want them to sign up until a specific day. And then of course a coordinator, this is just so if people have questions, this is the coordinator information. And then you don't really need credentials for this. And then a calendar color, up to you. I think we have it shows you what is virtual and what is in person up at the top. And then you can do this where like they force the hours. So depending on what the event is, I usually do like DCS event project, or like volunteer services event project, whatever. So that's how you create an event, and then you would click save, but I'm not going to save that, but you would save it and it would come up here and it will look something like this. I'll just click on what Elizabeth made. So this is what people will see when they go to register. They just click register and that's what they'll do. And so when they get the RSVP, when I get the reminder, this virtual link, this instead of yes, it'll have a link to the actual meeting. So if you're trying to add a location, you go to, bear with me, I always forget. Shift Tool Manager. Okay. So to add a location, you'll go to Shift Tool Manager, add location, and then this is, for whatever location that, if it's like for a holiday event or anything like that, you go down to the very bottom and click add. And then you can do it by, active or inactive, the name, location type, if it's chapter, county, region, specific address, virtual, the map link, and the URL. I just put in the map link, or you can just put both links in there and click submit. And then you give it a couple of minutes, and then basically that location is going to show up in that drop down underneath that add location in your when you're building your event. So that's how you add an event to the MOAR regional events calendar. Thank you.